How we doing today, neighbors? Ian with eTrailer here. Today we're going to be taking a look at and installing the CURT Front Hitch Receiver on our 2016 GMC Sierra 2500. Let's go over a few features of that and why you may want one, and then we'll work on the install. One reason you may be looking at a front hitch receiver is if you've got a truck and you're going to be pulling either a bumper pull camper, or maybe even if you've got a larger fifth wheel, that's going to take up any space you would have used possibly for a cargo carrier or bike rack, something along those lines. This particular neighbor is going to be using this for a bike rack on the front of their vehicle because they already have a weight distribution hitch that they permanently leave on this truck. So this is going to open up a few more options as far as what you can carry and where it can be carried. This is going to feature a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver hole here with a nice gusseted end to help reinforce that shank going into the tube. It does feature a 5/8 pinhole, which unfortunately is not included with the hitch, but you can always pick one up from us at eTrailer to include nice locking types to keep anything you've got on the front of your vehicle secure. This is going to feature a 5,000 pound gross trailer weight rating, 500 pounds on the tongue weight, and then 9,000 pounds for our straight pull. And a couple measurements to keep in mind just for clearance options here in the front. Since this does sit pretty low to the ground, you may find that some of your cargo carriers or bike racks or even some winches that'll go into this receiver may need a riser along with that. So just keep that in mind while we're looking at these. And just from the ground to the inside top edge of our receiver tube, we're looking at 10 3/4 inches. And from the center of that hitch pin hole out to the bumper, right at 7 inches. So you may need that riser just to be able to get the proper clearance with it sitting very, very low and very in towards the vehicle. I will say for the install on this one, it is not bad at all. All of the hardware is pretty accessible. We do have to run a couple fish wires through each side, but realistically it's not that bad because everything's right there out on the open side of the frame. So I'm going to walk you through that whole process, but if you happen to watch this and think to yourself, I don't want to try to tackle that, please do check out our dealer locator on the website. We'd be happy to get you a trained professional that can help throw this on for you. But for all those DIYers, let's go ahead and hop into it and I'll walk you through. We're going to begin the installation under the front of the vehicle, and what we're looking for is on these two hooks underneath, there's going to be an 18mm bolt that we'll need to remove just right at the front of the hook. So that's going to be the only piece of hardware we are taking out, and we'll repeat everything we do on one side on the other from here on out, just so that's noted. And again, that's an 18mm coming out of there. Now we're going to take one of the fish wires and we're going to start with that coiled end going through the most forward hole right here on the frame. And where we're trying to get to is this square hole on the back. So if you put a good bend in that to kind of keep it up against the inside of the frame, that's going to make that a little easier to fish out of there. So we'll grab that coil and push that towards the top of this sway bar here just to kind of get it out of the way. With that coiled end pulled out, we'll take the square spacer block, put that coil through the hole, and then follow that up with one of our carriage bolts. And once we've got that carriage bolt on, we'll start by pushing the plate through first, getting a little tension on our fish wire, and then pull that carriage bolt through right behind it. You may have to kind of jostle that around because there are going to be some other hardware components that sit inside the frame where it can get caught. And we're looking to get that end of the carriage bolt hanging out. Now this is going to be a little easier with the second pair of hands, so I got Bruce helping me here. And I wanted to mention before we start to push this into place and line up that bottom hole and then our side holes, you'll want to tuck back that carriage bolt and just leave the fish wire hanging out on each side. So that way it'll slide up onto the frame here on our top of the bracket. So we'll take our fish wire and run that from the inside to the outside, and then we're going to push the hitch up into place, lining up that top hole. And once we've got that, we can pull that carriage bolt with the fish wire back out. With that held in place, put a little pressure on the bolt just to keep it from jumping back into the frame, and work your fish wire off of that. Then once you get that fish wire off, you can take the flange nut with those teeth facing forward on the frame and just go ahead and hand tighten that down. And on each side, we'll use that OEM hardware up where we remove that 18mm bolt. And again, just get that one hand tight. And using a 19mm socket, we'll be able to torque that to the specifications shown in the instruction manual. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can pick one up when you create your order with us, or you can run down to that local parts store and they should be able to rent one out for you. And that's going to do for our look at an installation of the CURT Front Hitch Receiver on our 2016 GMC Sierra 2500. My name's Ian with eTrailer, and I appreciate you watching.